Well, she may not be well known, but 82-year-old Claudette Colvin is an important part of U.S. history. 66 years ago, she was arrested in segregated Alabama for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white woman. That incident happened 9 months before Rosa Parks. David Begnaud sat down with Colvin and spoke to her about a new development in her story.
Needing assistance now.
It's very nice to meet you.
Claudette Colvin has spent most of her 82 years as a convicted juvenile delinquent who would go on to college, work as a nurse's aide, and raise 2 sons.
Do you think of yourself as an important figure in history?
No, I think of myself as a survival of the civil rights struggle.
Her place in the civil rights struggle began when she was 15 years old, at the back of a crowded Montgomery, Alabama bus after school with 3 friends.
I was sitting in the session that was allowed for colored people, and this white lady came. The bus driver demanded for the 4 seats.
And this is you and 3 others?
Students, yes.
So 3 of them got up?
Yes.
And you refused?
So I refused, because this wasn't an elderly white lady, this was a young white lady.
You're sitting there, your classmates get up and move.
Yes.
What was going through your head as to why you refused to stand?
I said, I could not move because history had me glued to the seat. And they said, how is that? I said, well, it felt as though Harriet Tubman hands were pushing me down on one shoulder, and Sojourner Truth's hand was pushing me down on the other shoulder.
Now that happened 9 months before Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a Montgomery bus, overshadowing for decades what a teenager had also done.
And the traffic patrolman came to the rear of the bus and asked me why I wasn't sitting there. I told him I was sitting there because I paid my fare and it's my constitutional rights.
Now, watching this interview from a nearby room was Judge Calvin Williams. Today, he is the presiding judge of the Montgomery Family Court.
And then what happened?
Oh, lo and behold, 2 squad car patrolmen stopped and, cut the bus off. And they stopped, and we said, oh, my.
We invited the judge to listen in and hear Colvin's account of what the police did to her in 1955.
And he asked me why I wasn't sitting there. And I was even more defiant. And I said, I paid my fare, and it's my constitutional rights. He said, constitutional rights? And all I know. And they put me in the squad car, and they handcuffed me through the window.
Claudette Colvin was jailed, charged with disturbing the peace, breaking segregation law, and found guilty of assaulting police officers, clawing them with her fingernails.
They said I clawed the policeman and I kicked the police. I didn't do all of that.
Was it the one and only time in your life that you've gone to jail?
Yes.
At the time I represented Claudette Colvin, there was no Rosa Parks case.
As a young attorney, Fred Gray, later portrayed by Cuba Gooding Jr. in the film Selma, took up her case. That's before he went on to defend Rosa Parks. In his book, he pays tribute.
The whole history of the civil rights movement may have been different, but for Claudette.
At the age of 16, she made headlines again as one of 4 plaintiffs in the lawsuit that would end Alabama's bus segregation in the landmark Browder versus Gale Supreme Court decision.
When you won in court,
Yes.
you could sit in the front row if you wanted.
Yes.
And did you?
Yes.
But the charge of assaulting police officers remained. Fast forward to today. When Judge Calvin Williams in Montgomery, Alabama read her appeal, he expunged her 66-year-old criminal record.
And I'm no longer a juvenile delinquent at 82.
She was not present when the judge ruled. She didn't know his name. She didn't even know what he looked like.
We have a surprise.
That was a surprise.
We have a surprise for you.
What is a surprise?
Someone would like to meet you.
Hello, Ms. Colvin. Judge Calvin Williams.
Wow. Oh, wow, 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 wow.
Judge Calvin Williams.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. Oh, my goodness.
On behalf of myself and all of the judges of Montgomery, offer my apology for an injustice that was perpetrated upon you.
Wow, this is a surprise.
So you didn't know that the judge who did this was African American?
No, I'm so proud.
The judge wasn't even born when Miss Colvin refused to give up her seat on that bus.
When she did this in 1955, there were no African American judges in Montgomery. She stood up for right, and now I'm the beneficiary and byproduct of that, and I could correct the wrong that was done to her.
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Can I squeeze your hand?
Yes, ma'am. Please do.